Check one. Hello, everyone, and welcome in here to 2021 football, our first 2021 high school football broadcast of the year. And we have the Appleton East Scrimmage here today. And so how this scrimmage is going to work, what you're looking at now is Appleton East and Green Bay Notre Dame going at it. And it looks like we have a penalty to start off, an offsides. Teams working out the kinks here in their scrimmage, but we haven't gotten an official word on the exact format of this scrimmage. But by the looks of it, I believe just in the past, in my experience being at scrimmages, covering scrimmages, we're probably going to have 20 plays per team, somewhere in that range on offense and defense, respectively. And they start at the 40-yard line, so we have two scrimmages going on at once. We're all going to be able to show you one at a time, and how we're basically choosing on this is the team that we can recognize numbers the most on, but that's going to be difficult in this scrimmage, as that's a run for about 10 yards there on the first play from scrimmage for Green Bay Notre Dame, they're in the blue uniforms, blue helmets, and the yellow pants. And it's Appleton East in the red uniforms, red helmets, and blue pants, navy blue pants. My name is Cale Jacoby alongside Vinny Villarell doing the production work here today in Appleton, Wisconsin. But again, I will try to get names as best as I can, although there are a lot of jerseys that don't have numbers, and from my experience, practice jerseys are not usually or not always the same number as game jerseys. The only team we have here today that's wearing their game jerseys is St. Mary Springs. Sure. Anyways, take a look at St. Mary Springs over there. They're wearing their game uniforms, their white and silver uniforms. And we also have Wisconsin Rapids, Lincoln High School here as well. None of their players have numbers on their uniforms. Again, that's not an uncommon thing for practice jerseys. But we'll do the best that we can trying to decipher names here today. But we'll be here for the first 2 hours of this scrimmage. We'll be here till 1 p.m. As that's a quick out route, quick swing pattern, and that's a touchdown for Green Bay as they get things started off here. And Green Bay, they're looking good here to start off against Appleton East. Again, that was their second or third play from scrimmage.
We have a timer running, I think, what must be for each team. So it must be just like they're going to switch.
So we do have time on the clock now, on the score clock. And we'll get that up for you as well. Again, we're just kind of deciphering our way through this as well, as it looks like it was a 40-minute clock starting off. We're at 36 minutes now. Again, we'll get that scoreboard up for you shortly. But so I'm going to guess we got 40 minutes for each game, which I'd also assume is probably 20 minutes per offense is what I'm going to guess we're going to have here. But again, we will be here for the first 2 hours. We'll be here till 1 p.m., and then we're going to sign off at around 1 p.m. And we'll hop back and forth between scrimmages here. Right now we have Green Bay, Notre Dame, and Appleton East. Once again, my name is Cale Jacoby alongside Vincent Villarell doing the production work. Again, a nice field here at Appleton East. Nice turf field. And a false start. So you're going to see a lot of that today. Probably going to see a lot of false starts, a lot of penalties from each side. Hopefully the coaches don't want that, but these scrimmages is kind of where you try to work out some of those kinks. And that's really the purpose of these scrimmages, just to try to get into rhythm, as we're going to start high school football action next week already. Next week, Friday, a week from today, as here on the Zaleski Sports Broadcast Network, I believe we're going to have 10 high school football games broadcast on the Zaleski Sports Network across the state of Wisconsin. So stay tuned for that. But again, these teams just trying to shake the rust off, and really just a chance to to play somebody else in a different uniform, to go against somebody that's not on your own team, to hit somebody, as the players and coaches would say, to hit somebody that's not on your team, wearing an opposing color and uniform. All right, so Green Bay again, hands off up the middle and down to about the 31. And again, we're probably not going to have player names for you here today. Again, Green Bay, we see some players with numbers, some without. But that's probably a good indication the players that do have numbers, they're probably not the numbers on the roster that they'll wear during the games. We'll try to work out Appleton East if we can. They all have numbers. But again, not 100% again, as it's definitely not for sure thing they're the same as their game numbers and their roster numbers. So that's a throw over the middle left sideline. Big hit there from the cornerback, knocks the ball loose. It's a big hit there from Appleton East, knocking the ball loose as Green Bay receiver not able to come up with the ball. And that is number 26 for Green Bay. And just a classic example, Green Bay on the roster that I have does not have a number 26 on their roster. So again, not going to be able to focus too much on the player names here today. But that's a run up the middle, bounced it outside to the left, and he is gone for a touchdown for Green Bay Notre Dame. And Green Bay, at least from what we've seen, they've really had their offense going here to start things off. That's their second touchdown already. Yeah, in about 10 plays or so. And their two touchdowns, they probably would have been touchdowns if they would have been at their own 20-yard line, as they were far and away touchdowns. Nobody was catching the runner there. As we got some music going here at Appleton East. And just a nice environment to yeah.
I was trying to help, so you're good.
But as we mentioned, Green Bay looking good here to start off. So they've had multiple touchdown scores rather already. And that's a run up the middle. It gets stuffed for relatively short gain. And if you're Appleton East head coach, can't be too thrilled with how your defenses play here to start off. And again, it kind of gives, as a coaching staff, it kind of gives you these scrimmages, they give you a sort of sense of where your team is at. Here you've been practicing for a few weeks, and you just get a look at where you guys are at compared to the rest of the field. And quarterback, this is a pass. He steps up in the pocket, rolls right, and now running and just gets stopped again. There's not going to be a lot of taking to the ground of the quarterbacks in this scrimmage. Quarterbacks are still safe here in the scrimmages. We don't see quarterbacks get hit until the real game start, and really So we continue to see here, I'm not sure how much tackling to the ground there's going to be overall. I think these scrimmages, more and more the concern is just with player health and making sure guys are healthy, which that's where the emphasis should be. Again, it's a scrimmage. Doesn't count for a win or a loss. Shouldn't have anyone getting injured unnecessarily here in these scrimmages. That's an I formation. And the play action. Now the throw to the flat to the fullback. Running down the right sideline, and he is taken down. So maybe it's just the quarterbacks. Just the quarterbacks can't get taken to the ground. And now we're going to take a look at Wisconsin Rapids and St. Mary's Springs. Over here on the right side of the field. And from our Zaleski Sports sideline reporting, we find out that Wisconsin Rapids has scored a couple touchdowns already. Again, it looks like Wisconsin Rapids varsity is in the black uniforms, and I think they got the JV in the red. That's at least what it appears to be now. As they seem to have a power option offense from what it looks like, just from their formation. We'll take a look at that again. But again, St. Mary's Springs are the only ones they're wearing their game uniforms. That is unusual. You don't typically see that in the scrimmages, but it does help us out. That's for sure. And now looks like we got another offensive unit coming on the field for Wisconsin Rapids, maybe their second unit. And running to the outside, he'll get stuffed out there. So St. Mary Springs, we might be able to give some accurate names for. Again, with they got their game uniforms out here today, so. Well, I already see a number 9 out there, and don't have a number 9 on on the roster, so. Yeah, see number 20. I don't see a 20 on the roster. Again, no rosters were provided here today. That's another thing not unusual. So this is a scrimmage. So we're just going to evaluate how these teams are doing overall. Well, it looks like Rapids, they have 2 wingbacks back there as well as a halfback. Kind of a power offense, but still with the 2 wide receivers, so not quite there. But clearly an offense that looks like with that kind of formation, you tend to see a lot of motion from those wingback guys, a lot of jet sweeps or play-action jet sweeps. A lot of misdirection back there in the backfield is what you tend to see when a team has a formation offensively that Wisconsin Rapids does, which, again, those 2 wingbacks back there offset from the line of scrimmage, and then the fullback. Now they're going to drop back to pass, just a quick hitch route, and that's incomplete. And Wisconsin Rapids, the 2 wingbacks, and some drop back the last play. Now, looks like maybe a false start. That's a pitch to the outside. He's running down the sideline, stiff arm, and as we had some Got a good amount of people in the stands here today for this scrimmage. Yeah, it's getting, you assume we got fans from Green Bay, Appleton East, Wisconsin Rapids, and St. Mary Springs all here. Relatively filled stands. Now, so yes, I do think we're going to see a switch of offense to defense at the 20-minute mark here, which is in about 2.5 minutes. When we have that switch, we'll pan back to the Appleton East and Green Bay Notre Dame game, or scrimmage. Again, as we look forward to our slate that we will have Friday for football, we actually have a couple Thursday football games as well. So this will be a good time just to run through our schedule here at Zaleski Sports and what we all are going to have broadcasted here next week when the football season begins next week Thursday, as we're going to have Glenwood City at Spencer Columbus football on Thursday. We'll also have Pittsville at Augusta on Thursday as well. Those all 7 p.m. start times. And then Friday we have a loaded schedule. We have Marshfield at Fond du Lac. That game starts at 7. Assumption at DeSoto football. That kickoff's at 6. Stratford at Mosinee, 7 p.m. kickoff rather. Colby at Neelsville football. Anago at Amherst. Pacelli at Wyowega. I will be on the call for that game. Looks like alongside Trevor Zaleski. Maybe Vinny will be there. Who knows? And that's our football schedule. So let's just go over that again. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. 8 high school football games being broadcast live on Zaleski Sports next week. Remember, we have over 700 live high school sports broadcasts here this season. As we wind down to the 20-minute mark, and Wisconsin Rapids has got about 30 seconds of offense left. And we'll see what they do with it. Maybe they'll take a shot to the end zone here. And they will drop back to pass. The left-handed quarterback throws a deep flag route, and we have a flag on the field. It's incomplete. We're going to have defensive holding. But that will do it for the Wisconsin Rapids offense. And as we just geniusly predicted up here,
I think you did
that we're switching offenses. At least St. Mary Springs is. Looks like they're giving Green Bay some more time offensively. Maybe just one last play for Green Bay. And no, so St. Mary Springs is on offense in the St. Mary Springs and Wisconsin Rapids game. But
Appleton East game. St. Mary Springs and Appleton East. Sorry, no,
nope. So the St. Mary Springs and Wisconsin Rapids game, St. Mary Springs is on offense. As we'll keep it with that. We'll keep it with the St. Mary's game though, since we do have a switch of offense and defense again. Not sure why Green Bay didn't switch. Maybe there's a play count, but then why are you keeping track of time? There's a fumble on the field here, and Rapids is all over it. And I misspoke, and I said that Rapids' red uniform guys are JV guys. Looks like the red uniforms are their defense. The black uniforms are their offense. And now we're switching for Green Bay and Appleton East. So we'll go to the Appleton East and Green Bay game. We'll pan over to that one. as Appleton East will get their first shot offensively. Again, the first time we get to see any of these teams play against somebody else in any kind of competition outside of in-practice drills and scrimmages they have against each other. Now we'll see what Appleton East offense has. They're in the single back formation. 3 receivers, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. There's a wing back there off the line of scrimmage. It's really 4 receivers if you want to count the wing back there. And handoff up the middle. No, read option. And the quarterback will keep and get to about the 30-yard line. And that option offense is always really difficult to defend at the high school level if you have the players to do it. As we have a drone flying above the field right now. So we have a drone up there.
It's been up all day.
Oh, and I've been informed it's been up there all day. It's just my observation just found it now, and I'm going to assume that's maybe a film camera for one of these teams.
I think it's Appleton East.
And it may be Appleton East getting some film above, but who knows? Could be any of these teams sending a drone up there to film some of these. And when you do that, you can get that up high view, and also it's a much better view when you have a camera angle, at least for film purposes, that's straight on. That's straight on either by the goal post, so you can kind of see how plays are developing. So for film purposes, you do like to have that angle. And whoever's got the drone does have that angle. Looks like it's keeping its eye on the Appleton East game, so maybe it is Appleton East. As it's a handoff up the middle and down to about the 13-yard line. So Appleton East methodically driving down. But just trying to think of all the schools we're going to have broadcasts. We're going to have too many schools to keep track of for me to just list off here that we'll be broadcasting, but at least schools that will be, would you call it exclusively broadcasting? Or broadcasting most or all of their seasons. We'll have Pacelli Cardinal football. We'll have Marshfield Tiger football. We'll have Assumption football, Amherst football, Stratford football, just to name a few that I can say with certainty that we'll have at least most of their seasons. But we'll be all over the state of Wisconsin here this year, broadcasting countless high school football games and teams throughout this 2021 season, as we will be, again, this is the first year we're back with a normal season here this year as well. Again, last year we had some teams that played in the fall, some teams played in the spring. It was a lot of the lower division teams, I think, played in the fall. The Division 3 or 4, maybe some of the higher ones did as well. It was kind of, I think it was conference negotiated or division negotiated on that. And I think Spash played in the spring last year. Stevens Point played in the spring. I believe that Wisconsin Rapids played in the spring as well. Could be mistaken on that, but so we had a lot. Some teams play in the fall, some teams in the spring, but no playoffs, no state tournament. And finally this year we're going to be able to get back to some sense of normalcy here with the football season. As it's just great to have football back. We have NFL preseason that started already. We had games last night in the NFL preseason that were on. The Hall of Fame game was last week. We have college football gearing up to start, just high school football especially. It's just football time here in Wisconsin and in the United States as fall creeps around the corner. And we got all of it. We got all of the 2021 Wisconsin high school sports you could ask for. He runs Zaleski Sports.
800, 700?
I believe it was just over 500 games we did last year. The whole school year, I believe. I could be wrong on that number. That's definitely a question for Jason Zaleski. But I believe this year we're doing over 700 broadcasts confirmed already just for the entire sports season. So we are your high school home for Wisconsin sports, Zaleski Sports.
Yeah, after the 40 because they're going to switch teams. Yeah, we'll like
But again, Appleton East, looks like they put it in the end zone. They'll start back. And they have a similar formation that we saw from Wisconsin Rapids as Appleton East. It's really a power formation. They got one receiver out there, a couple of wing backs. Looks like Appleton East even had a tight end there as well, as well as their tailback. And again, that is the formation you see with teams that like to do some of the option plays, because what you'll have in a lot of cases, you'll have the original read option with the quarterback getting the ball into the gut of his running back behind him. You see there for Appleton East. You see what we're talking about. Now they got two receivers, but still you see two wingbacks there and a running back behind him. A lot of times you'll see that read option and then a pitch man come across, or just a jet sweep, which we just saw there. And that went nowhere. Green Bay was all over that. And yes, as Vinny points out, Green Bay really read that, and they weren't fooled at all. As again, when you see that kind of formation, you're going to see a lot of motions, a lot of jet sweeps, and a lot of potential for the read option and the triple option even, which again, it's really easy to set up the triple option out of that formation because you have the running back behind you. That's your number one option there. You have the quarterback deciding if he wants to hand it off. If he doesn't, he keeps it. But you also have the wingback coming in motion behind the quarterback in case the quarterback keeps it and wants to pitch to that wingback. And now we're going to have the motion man again and just a handoff up the middle here, and he's stuffed again. So Green Bay, Notre Dame, not fooled at all right now by the Appleton East misdirection in the backfield. And we've seen that a lot. We've kind of always seen that, the misdirection stuff in high school and college football. We've seen that for years with various different football programs. Georgia Tech is an example you've seen in college football. But in high school, you've seen plenty of teams resort to the option and the triple option. It is tough to defend because it's really tough to know who has the ball. As a defense, you have to stay disciplined with your assignments. Usually you're going to have a guy that's assigned to the quarterback, a guy that's assigned to the running back, and a guy that's assigned to the pitch man. And as long as you stay disciplined and stay locked into those assignments, you can defend it. And obviously you got to make the play and make the tackles if you're the defense. But it can be stopped, but it's difficult because sometimes when you're out there defensively and you have your assignment, but there's a lot of times you get there and you think for sure this guy has it and you want to go make the play, and that's when you really get burned. And we're going to switch back to the St. Mary Springs and Wisconsin Rapids game now. As about a little over 9 minutes left in this first round of scrimmage, as that's a completion out to the left sideline as St. Mary Springs, not sure the exact height of their quarterback, but he looks, I would say minimum 6'4", St. Mary Springs quarterback. Well, St. Mary Springs quarterback, big guy. As I'm going to take a shot in the dark and guess, is that Cullen King? I see a quarterback on my roster that's 6'6". Could be Cullen King at quarterback, as they're going to score a touchdown, handoff up the middle. I have gotten confirmation that St. Mary Springs quarterback is Colin King. Again, that's a little easier one for me to pick out on the roster, even though the roster I have has him at number 6. Again, it's very possible. But that was an easier one to figure out when there's a guy that's 6'6" on the field, and you got a height on the roster. Just look for the guy that's 6'6", and that's probably who it is. We saw a batter of that size for the Anago Typhoon Legion baseball team. Cranked a couple home runs for Anago. That was a week or two ago. A week ago. When we were in Anago? 2 weeks ago almost now, yeah. From what we've seen, St. Mary Springs having some success here offensively. They got a 2-back lineup back there and hands it off, and that goes for about 4 or 5 yards.
No? Dang.
No. Vinny trying to show off some football knowledge over here.
I have none.
Vinny more of a racing hockey guy, eh? Right? Am I right on that? Yeah.
Yeah, you played football for 4 years, and I did not.
Well, I played it, if you want to count when I was in 3rd grade, I played it for probably like 11 years.
Okay,
But yeah. Yep, no, you got a football and basketball aficionado here calling the game for you. At least I like to consider myself that. I'm a self-proclaimed football and basketball aficionado. St. Mary Springs looks like they got a tight end, 2 receivers, and 2 backs. It's always interesting. That's one thing to look at in these scrimmages, the variations of offenses these teams run. I haven't seen anyone with a spread offense here today that just spreads it out, 3-4 receivers, shotgun formation, and throws the football. You don't see that a lot in high school football, but you do see it occasionally. And we're going to have a false start from St. Mary Springs as looks like they got their 2nd unit in there now.
Yeah, I think Rapid switched their defense out after that first 10 minutes.
Yeah, so what it looks like the format is here is we're about all the way through this first 40-minute scrimmage, and then these teams will switch opponents. But what we've seen is that it's a 40-minute scrimmage. So for 20 minutes, one team is on offense. The next 20 minutes, the other team's on offense. And in the middle of that, we've seen for most of these teams, their starters go 10 minutes, and their second stringers come in for the next 10 minutes is how it's gone, which is, again, that's a pretty standard way to do it. It looks like the only change I'm seeing is the time being added. Typically, you don't see time as much as you see a play limit, like a 20-play or so limit, but the timing it is much more efficient. There's no doubt about that.
Much better than baseball where you don't know where it's going to be. We know it's solid at the time.
As well, 4:20 left, 4:18 left on the clock, and St. Mary Springs letting their second string guys do some work. And that's another thing you get is not only you get to let your starters get in rhythm, but you also get to see if, hey, maybe there's some guys on JV that they might be able to squeak in some playing time here on the varsity squad. And they can kind of show their skills here against, again, somebody in a different uniform. That's handoff off the right tackle and to about the 18-yard line. So, again, we saw from Wisconsin Rapids more of that power set offense with really 3 backs in the backfield if you include those wing backs, which you would. Same with Appleton East. They've gone with a similar offense. But we've seen from St. Mary Springs, they like that 2-back set with the 2 backs behind the quarterback, equidistant from the quarterback, horizontally that is. But again, we'll be here till 1 p.m. Which means we will be here through 3 scrimmages, or maybe they'll take a break. They'll take a break between, probably for 2 scrimmages.
Play it by ear.
Well, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll let you know. So closing in on 2 minutes left here in this one. St. Mary Springs is in the red zone. And the handoff up the middle goes nowhere. Goes nowhere for St. Mary Springs, and under 2 minutes of play.
Wouldn't make sense, you know. It's just, I don't know. Play it by ear, but that's not what makes sense to me.
St. Mary Springs with 2 receivers to the left. Now hand off and down at about the 11-yard line. One thing about these scrimmages is they may not technically count, but they are competitive. I can tell you that from experience, being around and being in them, is that tempers can flare in these scrimmages. I mean, you're sitting under the beating sun for most of these. Most of these are played at noon, as this one is. We're almost at 11:40. Under the beating sun, and you're really just trying to, as a player, really just show what you can do before the season starts, and especially when you've just been hitting your own teammates for all summer. When you get the chance to hit another team and make some plays against somebody else, you relish that opportunity, and tempers can definitely flare in these matchups. So don't let the fact that the game doesn't count deter you from the fact that it is still very competitive out there. We have a flag thrown down here.
Good form tackle.
As Vinny points out, it was a good form tackle. It was a nice tackle there from the football expert Vinny Villarreal, as that'll do it for scrimmage number 1. We hear the siren go off on the scoreboard, and with that, we're going to take a quick break and be back with the second scrimmage and some more football action right after this on Zaleski Sports.
Bauer & Fine Business Technologies is your complete office technology solution. For 60 years, Bauer & Fine Business Technologies has been serving school districts, municipalities, counties, religious organizations, and businesses in Wisconsin and beyond. Visit b-bt.com and let Bauer & Fine Business Technologies be your complete office technology solution. That's b-bt.com. Citizens State Bank of Loyal is your independently owned community bank with locations just a short drive or walk from where you work and live. Citizens State Bank of Loyal invites you to a banking relationship that will always put you first. Personal, business, and agricultural services provided by people that live just across town and around the corner. At Citizens State Bank of Loyal, we pride ourselves in our involvement in the communities we serve. See us today in Neillsville, Marshfield, Spencer, Granton, and Loyal. Citizens State Bank of Loyal, an equal housing lender, member FDIC. Chili Implement, located just north of Highway 10 in Chile, is your place for Kubota zero-turn mowers. If your lawn is big or small, we have all the lawn care solutions for you. Check out our 60-inch deck. Kubota, powerful, precise, proven. Chili Implement is your choice for Kubota, Case IH, and Gale. Chili Implement, open 6 days a week to serve you. Chili Implement.
From first contact at Dental Clinic of Marshfield, their dentists are committed to your individual attention and strive to provide personalized oral health care. They work hard to create the ultimate stress-free and comfortable dental experience. It is their mission to educate and provide the patients with the best dental care in Central Wisconsin. Whether you're looking for information on implants, teeth whitening, crowns, orthodontics, dentures, or any dental service, Dental Clinic of Marshfield has it for you. You can book your appointment online at dentalclinicofmarshfield.com or give them a call at one of their 3 locations in Marshfield, Stratford.
An employee at once asked me to prioritize family, faith, and business, and I put them in that order in particular. For each one of our employees, it's family first. You do what is best for you and your family. Then the rest of it will take care of itself. It's about making sure you make the best decisions for you and your family.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love home furniture.
Hi, this is Jill from Home Furniture and Design. Since 1970, in 4 generations, our family has been proudly offering quality furniture like Lazy Boy, Serta, and the Amish to Central Wisconsin. We also offer free in-home design with our professionally trained designers to help you create a space that is uniquely yours, whether it's just a sofa or the entire home.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love home furniture.
West Grand Avenue, Wisconsin Rapids, and Post Road in Plover.
Keep moving ahead with the summer tire event at Sherrill Tire and Service Center through July 2nd. Up to $150 in rebates on Goodyear tires with a Goodyear credit card subject to credit approval. The summer tire event at Sherrill Tire. Find your location at SherrillTire.com.
Get a jump start on college or speed up your degree with a transferable class from Mid-State Technical College this summer. There are 130 classes to choose from, online or in person, taught by instructors who are experts in their field. Get info on the Mid-State Technical College summer classes at mstc.edu.
Welcome back, everybody. We get set to resume play here in these scrimmages as we keep an eye on Appleton East. Appleton East is taking on St. Mary's. St. Mary. St. Mary Springs, that is. And it's Appleton East on offense first, St. Mary Springs on defense. As on the other side, we have Green Bay, Notre Dame, and Wisconsin Rapids. But we'll keep it on Appleton East and St. Mary Springs. And we'll have a chance to hear from our friends over at Fleet Farm. If you like Fleet Farm, you've got to sign up for Fleet Rewards. You earn points to save even more on things that you already buy. Plus, it's free to sign up and there's no credit card required. Start earning points today with Fleet Rewards. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955. So full 66 years of business for Fleet Farm. So be sure to stop over at your local Fleet Farm. There's one here in Appleton. There's one almost every town you want to go, you go into here in Wisconsin. So stop at your local Fleet Farm, get some gardening supplies, maybe a grill, summertime, or just some Fleet Farm candy. Whatever you like to pick up there at Fleet Farm. Head over to your local Fleet Farm.
Maybe looking to hear more about the Zaleski Sports Garden.
It's Appleton East with a 3 receiver set now. And drop back to pass. Rolling left, dodging defenders. Now he's going to run and stays inbounds, jukes up, and finally taken down at 13-yard line. Nice run there by the Appleton East quarterback. And hey, if any of you in the comments section want to let us know the name of a player you want Want that? That'd be great. Anyone knows who Appleton East quarterback is? Their starting quarterback is. Again, I don't have a number for him. That'd be a great help. Help recognize some of these players. I don't think he has a number. Oh, maybe he's wearing 17. It's a faded away number. That's another thing with those practice jerseys. Sometimes they have numbers, but the number is half ripped off and faded away, and you can't really tell what it is anyways. Nothing wrong with that. You don't really need numbers in practice. Not especially, at least. Yes, and as Vinny points out, sometimes they do tape your last name on the front of your helmet in practice. That is a common theme, front or back of the helmet. I mean, if you think about it a little bit, all these schools, they have a certain amount of money they can put into their football program, whatever sport program that they have, and practice jerseys isn't really a big necessity when it really comes down to it. As long as they're on there, as long as it's a jersey that's can fit on the shoulder pads, that's good enough. As long as the game uniforms are in pristine condition, which we got one team wearing their game uniforms in St. Mary Springs. Look like some pretty nice, clean uniforms St. Mary Springs pulled out today. Looks like white with a navy and gray stripe on the sleeve, and silver pants, silver helmet. And Appleton East dropping back, throwing to the end zone, and just short of the end zone, but incomplete for Appleton East. And now I'll have a chance to hear from our friends over at Draxler Transport. Draxler has flatbed driving opportunities that pay you a 5-cent per mile premium over van. At Draxler Transport, drivers are always home for their requested time off. Draxler Transport is a family-oriented company that treats you like family. Visit DraxlerTransport.com to apply today. Appleton East at the 10-yard line now. We've had some methodical drives here today. And that one's handed off up the middle for just about nothing, maybe a gain of a yard or so. Again, they got the music blasting here at Appleton East. They have a concession stand here as well. It's a nice environment for a football scrimmage here in Appleton, Wisconsin. That's an outside handoff, cutting up the field, making a couple defenders miss, and onto the 5-yard line for Appleton East. All these teams seem to have pretty full rosters as well. And these are bigger schools in the state of Wisconsin. Good to see none of these teams, no teams don't seem to be having any trouble with participation, with numbers for their teams. I mean, Wisconsin Rapids has got an offensive unit and a defensive unit. And Appleton East with a full sideline. St. Mary Springs with a full sideline, and same with Green Bay, Notre Dame. So Appleton East now backed up to the 10. Lost a few yards. They're trying to punch it into the end zone. We have seen a decent amount of flags on the field, though, here today. And again, that's predicted. That's expected. Yes, again, all these teams just trying to dust off the cobwebs and get back into action, because this is the first normal full season any of these teams have had in 2 years. That's an important thing to keep in mind. As again, we saw it. We really got a chance to see the effects of that with the baseball and softball seasons this year, as that was really the sport that didn't get a season at all. That was the season, track and field as well, cross country. Those were the sports seasons, the spring season that got their whole season canceled when the COVID-19 pandemic originally shut things down. But so we saw the adjustment here this year with baseball and softball teams. We saw a lot of a lot of teams with not a lot of experience, because you go a whole year without playing. You had plenty of players on almost every team that we covered this year for baseball and softball that had no varsity experience in the past, and again, all because they couldn't play their season the year before and get that experience that year. So you had players that were juniors that have never touched the varsity baseball or softball diamond, and we're not going to have that here in football, as again, there was a season last year, just not as we are used to having. But just great to be back into the swing of things here in football season. Have these scrimmages start off, and we're off and ready to go here next week already with the start of the football season. And we'll have the football season, the usual 9-game schedule for most teams, and then playoffs. It's just nice to be back with a sense of normalcy here with the football season. Appleton East in that power set. Again, the wingback coming in motion, and whistles are blown, and another false start. I think we got back-to-back false starts as we'll switch over to the Green Bay Notre Dame and Wisconsin Rapids game. As it's Green Bay Notre Dame, close to the goal line here. They hand it off, cut inside, and down to about the 2-yard line for Green Bay Notre Dame. And we'll have a chance to hear from our friends at Spectrum Benefit. Spectrum Benefit Solutions, with offices throughout central Wisconsin. Spectrum Benefit Solutions is your group benefits provider for health, dental, accident, and life insurance. Spectrum Benefit Solutions works with businesses of all sizes to help you attract and retain the best employees. If you're watching this broadcast, you are eligible for lower cost health, dental, accident, and life insurance. Find Spectrum Benefit Solutions on Facebook to get started. Big thanks to our friends over at Spectrum Benefit Solutions. Attract and retain the best as Green Bay Notre Dame punches it in, and they'll start right back over at the 40-yard line. As we're nearing the noon hour here in Appleton. So again, you're looking at Green Bay, Notre Dame, and Wisconsin Rapids. And that's a fumble on the handoff, and will it be a Wisconsin Rapids recovery? Yes, it will be. So a turnover for Green Bay. And this is going to be a pass over the middle. That's dropped. The throw is a little high, but off the hands of the intended receiver. And Green Bay Notre Dame back out there. And they really dominated offensively against Appleton East. This is an outside handoff off the right tackle. Really an outside zone run there, and he gets met up at the 36. That was a big hit there. Nice play there, just stopping the runner in his tracks. That's a single back formation for Green Bay. One tight end, three receivers, and it's a pass. And rush coming. Now the throw over the middle. It's picked. No, dropped. It's dropped, but just about intercepted for Wisconsin Rapids. Nice play there in the secondary. Maybe that was a linebacker on the play. Now we have the I formation for Green Bay and the handoff up the middle and stuffed again. So this second unit, Wisconsin Rapids run defense, really showing its strength here.
I'll call your dad and see what he says, but I figured I'd call you first. I think your dad's done, but I just wanted to call you since you were kind of on call. I was like, I'll just call you first since you're kind of the designated guy today and see what you had to say. But yeah, I'll give him a call, see what he says, and we'll go from there. So thanks again, man. Talk to you later. Yep, bye.
This is a draw play, and it worked to perfection for Green Bay Notre Dame, as it's about a 20-yard run for Green Bay Notre Dame.
So we're running 40-minute scrimmages here, and we are currently
40 minute.
Oh, sorry. We're running 40-minute scrimmages, right? We're in the middle of our second one. We have about 22 minutes left. So we're done about 12:20. The third one's going to start probably about 10 minutes after this ends, so like 12:30, 12:40. So I'm not sure if you want us to pull out in the middle of the third scrimmage or just pull out after the second one.
And looks like Green Bay in the I form. Two tight end set, two receivers. One tight end, rather. And the hand off the middle again. And it's cut up. And at the 14-yard line.
Like, I don't know,
as we near the 20-minute mark here on scrimmage number 2.
Plug after this scrimmage and then get on the road because I think Kale and I both got to get back for something. So, yeah. All right. Thanks, Jason. We'll talk to you later. Yep. Bye.
I'll have a chance to hear from our friends over at H&S. H&S Manufacturing in Marshfield is hiring. If you are a hard-working individual, then we need you. Do you want a solid company that offers top wages along with a very generous benefits package? Then check out our open positions at H&S. Our benefits include health, dental, life, and disability, plus 401k, cash bonuses, $2 shift bonus, and a substantial vacation plan that has you earning vacation from your very first day. We are looking for welders, painters, and assemblers for both first and second shift. To apply online, Google us at H&S Manufacturing or log on to hsmfgco.com. That's hsmfgco.com. Thanks to our friends over at H&S Manufacturing. So again, we inch closer to the 20-minute mark. And we'll hop back over to the Appleton East and St. Mary Springs game. But right now, Green Bay Notre Dame is threatening to score another. And they got the I formation, 2 receivers, 1 tight end. And fullback dive, touchdown. Clever play there to run on the goal line. Just a quick handoff to the fullback. And Green Bay Notre Dame scores the touchdown. And now we'll switch sides. We will switch. And St. Mary already getting going. They've been quick today. Let's say they've been quick to rotate their guys out. Both their games now. As just a reminder, this will be the last scrimmage of the day that we'll be at. They may have some more here today, but this will be the last 20 minutes. So we'll just be doing the first 2 scrimmages here today. And then that will be a broadcast completed for us here at Zaleski Sports in Appleton East. And this is a dart thrown over on a hitch route on the sideline. It's incomplete. As again, the one player I've been able to confirm, Cullen King, the quarterback for St. Mary Springs. Again, St. Mary is going to be the easier one to get players, right? In that they're wearing their game uniforms, their official numbers. Most likely their official numbers. It's Cullen King, the 6'6" quarterback for St. Mary Springs. And again, they have that 2-back set, a little cross buck. And that's the thing about high school football. You get to see a lot of run schemes, a lot of stuff you don't necessarily see at the NFL level. And that NFL and to a great degree the college level as well has switched to much more of a spread system. Not all teams, for sure. There's a lot of NFL squads that still run a power run offense, but not in the traditional way we see it. But here with a 2 running back set back here, and then the cross handoff, and that's a lob pass that's incomplete. King just wasn't able to get that far enough out in front of his receiver on that one, and that falls incomplete. And this is a fullback dive. And gains about nothing for St. Mary Springs. And that drone just flying over. And I believe it's in Appleton East. I believe the drone's from Appleton East. That's my guess. Seems to be following that action on Appleton East side. Two receivers to set, one tight end, two backs for St. Mary. Drop back. Throw down the field is incomplete, and I think St. Mary is the team we've seen throw the ball a little bit more than others, I think. St. Mary's probably the team that's looked most open to throwing the football a little bit. But at the same time, it's scrimmage, and you want to get some throws in. The scrimmage doesn't necessarily reflect how often a team is going to throw or run. When the season comes along, again, that's next week. And this is a handoff up the middle. That's a handoff right up to about the 25-yard line. Now we'll have a chance to hear from our friends over at Valley Communities Credit Union. It's never too early to start teaching the value of saving. Your youngsters can learn today with a Valley Communities Credit Union Kids Club or Teen Savings Club membership. We make saving fun and easy with prizes for making deposits and getting good grades. Stop into one of our 5 locations in Mosinee, Croninwater, Marshfield, Stevens Point, and Wisconsin Rapids to open an account for your kids today at Valley Communities Credit Union. So we have a false start out on the field, maybe an offsides. Get your kids started today with a Valley Communities Credit Union Kids Club or Teen Savings Club membership. It looks like it was an offsides penalty on Appleton East there. And that one goes nowhere from St. Mary's. When we started this scrimmage, we saw a lot of big plays on both sides. The offense is really heating up. I think as the scrimmage has kind of gone along, we've seen the defenses catch up a little bit. The defenses get into a little bit of a rhythm here. And really a lot of stuff you want to see in this kind of scrimmage play is a lot of it offensively. You want to make sure your guys are blocking the right guys. You want to make sure they got the playbook down. They know their assignments. They know what they're supposed to do. That's really a big thing you want to make sure is that. And that's something that, again, Appleton East with that sky cam they looks like they got there. You're going to be able to see that really well. But the coaches are standing behind. They can see this as well. But just making sure your assignments are correct. You're doing your job. You know, you're being a star in your role, as you could say. But again, offensively, just make sure you're blocking the right guy. You're running the right routes on what plays. You got the playbook down. You got the terminology down. That's really something you're looking for here in these kind of scrimmages. And then for Appleton East, they're on defense. Defensively, you want to make sure your gap's sound. You want to make sure your defensive linemen know their movements on the front line, and that your linebackers are filling the gaps that they need to make. Because again, defense has got calls just like the offense has got calls, and so defensively it's really a lot of the same, as that's going to be incomplete. But defensively, you want to make sure in coverage, you guys, your zone coverage is sound. You guys are covering the zones they need, and they are required to cover. And again, making sure you got just the terminology down of your defensive play calling. But then it's really that relationship between your defensive line and your linebackers. So you got a defensive lineman, let's say the defensive end is shooting out on a play. They got the outside contain. That means the outside linebacker, he's going to have to fill that gap, that inside gap, that C gap inside the defensive end. And same thing for defensive tackles and the inside linebackers. One D lineman shoots out or shoots in. The linebacker's got to fill the opposite side of that gap. Whether that's the A or B. And every defense is different scheme. Whether you're running, in high school we see 4-4, we see 5-2s, some 4-3s. Don't see a lot of 3-4s at the high school level. See more 5-3 or 5-2, maybe 4-4, or the standard 4-3. And it looks like as that one's completed out there. Trying to look at what Appleton East has got for a defensive scheme here. But regardless, whatever scheme you run, how many linebackers you got out there, you got to fill the gaps. Gaps are always the same. You got to fill the gaps that are there in your run defense. And most defenses at the high school level are running some sort of zone coverage, simple cover 2 or cover 3 sets in high school. Yeah, that's handoff. He's got space and down at about the 8-yard line. Now that one was off tackle. It was a run off tackle there. But again, as we mentioned, most pass defenses, most pass coverages in high school are your simple cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. That just simply means you got two deep men covering the deep ball 3 or 4, and then you got your linebackers covering the intermediate routes typically, or some of the flat routes as well. So there's nothing too confusing pass coverage wise at the high school level, but you still got to know what you're doing out on the field and know. Again, each team's got different terminologies for what they call certain coverages and defensive fronts and formations and blitzes, whatever you want to do, and got to make sure that's all set and down packed by this scrimmage so you're raring and ready to go by next week's week 1 action. And he just gets swallowed up in the backfield. Appleton East's run defense has really shown some stoutness here, and as you see some of that competitive fire come, we're going to switch over to the other side of the field again with Wisconsin Rapids and Green Bay Notre Dame. And Rapids going to pass. Little quick screen out there, maybe a bubble screen. And runner's still going, and he'll get about 7 yards on the play. And that's always the way. As a team, if you're not 100% confident in your offensive line or your running game, there are ways you can incorporate a run game into your pass game almost, and that's just with short passes. You get that short pass game going, it can almost work as a run game. You get some of those screen plays going, you get blockers out in front of it, and you get some matchup advantages where you got 3 blockers on 2 defenders out there on the perimeter. That can serve as a sort of run game for you if you need it to be. But again, that stuff we see a lot, not less of at the high school level, but Wisconsin Rapids throwing it now over to the fullback on the flat. He's going to the end zone. He'll be stopped short at about the 3-yard line. The big fullback getting some action there on the flat route. Now we'll have another unit come in for Wisconsin Rapids. And these scrimmages are also a time where you can try out some plays that you might save for later in the season. There's always some plays that coaches have. Maybe it's a trick play, a hook and ladder type play, or a reverse, or a flea flicker, whatever you call them. There's always a couple plays coaches have in their back pocket in which they might want to save for the end of the season or the playoffs or a meaningful game. And you might see one of those here. You see that sometimes in the scrimmage. You don't want to see it. The coaches don't really usually want to run them in the regular season. They don't want to show their hand there, but scrimmage, it's almost kind of a free rein to to show what you'd like, to do what you'd like. As we wind down, just under 7 minutes to play here in scrimmage number 2 again. We will bid everyone a farewell after this second scrimmage and conclude the broadcast. As Rapids in that power formation again. Motion man, handoff up the middle is stuffed for nothing. Another thing you'll see at the high school level as well, at the high school level especially, is you see an I formation, you see multiple running backs in the backfield. A lot of times teams will like to run this. I know Edgar football, Stratford football as well are two programs that really have made a staple in running this kind of play, but they will fake the handoff to a fullback and then hand it to the tailback. And now that's not something you see again at really not even in collegiate level, definitely not in the NFL, but kind of a misdirection fake handoff to somebody, but then hand it to the tailback behind. We're just over 5 minutes left to play here. And we get a look at Wisconsin Rapids offense, and they've lost some yardage here. They're at the 45, which you start your drive at the 40. And that's a play fake read option. There's the pitch. So there's the triple option we saw there. It wasn't ran very effectively on that play. Green Bay Notre Dame swallowed that up pretty easily, and they were very assignment sound there. But you know, that's where you see that triple option. You see quarterback decide, do I hand it to my tailback or not? He keeps it, and he can either keep the ball or pitch it to his back behind him. But that time that wasn't the best executed triple option there from Wisconsin Rapids. And it is, if you can master it as an offense, it's tough to stop, but it's also not the easiest thing in the world to run that offense. It's very tough on the quarterback. The quarterback has to be, you need to have a guy at quarterback that can make decisions at the drop of a hat within a split second, because the quarterback, the ones who do it best, you want to keep the ball into the gut of your running back as long as you possibly can. Force defense to commit. If they crash, you pull the ball out, you keep it yourself. And then, ideally, it's a 2-on-1 situation where you're making one defender choose to either tackle you, the quarterback, or take your running back. And if he takes you, you pitch it. If he takes the running back, you keep it. And you can get some big plays off that triple option if you have – it really revolves around the quarterback. Obviously, the offensive line in any run game, any run play, you need the offensive line to do their part and open the holes, but it really falls almost solely on the quarterback to make the perfect decision every time, and it's not easy to do. It's not easy to be able to tell, is this defender coming at me or coming at my running back? Do I keep it, give it, pitch it, keep it? So it really takes an intelligent, skilled quarterback, and speaking of that, that was perfect right there. That was about the most perfect read option you can see from Wisconsin Rapids quarterback there, as he kept it in the gut of his running back for as long as possible. His running back looked like he was getting tackled while he still had the ball held into his gut, and then pulls it out at the last second. And like you see there, that's a 20-yard gain. That's a 20-some yard gain. So if your quarterback can run it like that, you can have some big plays and have a really nice offense going for you if you run it like Wisconsin Rapids just did. Because, again, the entire Green Bay Notre Dame defense just crashed in on the interior running back. And the quarterback pulls it out the last second. Now a pass. Rolling out to the right. Now going to the end zone. And that should have been intercepted. Instead, it's caught for a touchdown. So thrown right to a Green Bay Notre Dame defensive back. Dropped, bobbled into the hands of a Wisconsin Rapids Red Raider. And Rapids coach doesn't look happy, and you really shouldn't be as a coach here. You'll take the luck when you can get it, but not the most well-executed play there for Wisconsin Rapids. But if that happens in a game, you'll take the 7 points, the 6 points. That's for sure. But here in the scrimmage, that's something you got to work on. Not really the decision you want out of your quarterback there. And it looked like there was about 3 receivers in the same spot there. You never want that as an offense. You should never even have 2 receivers in the same spot, let alone 3. And there's a prime example why. That's a handoff up the middle, and nice gain there. First down on the first play. As we're just over a minute left here at Appleton East High School in Appleton, Wisconsin. And Wisconsin Rapids, they're coming out in that power set again to 3 backs and 2 receivers. No tight end, though. 3 backs, 2 receivers. Drop back pass. Throw on the hitch route outside, and that's high and nowhere to be found and caught. Looks like a more of a scat back type receiver there, a slot receiver on the outside there. It's like a short, quick guy for Wisconsin Rapids. And you really love to have guys like that. And if you can find a good slot receiver that is quick and can run routes, you almost take that over a big receiver that can go up and get the ball if you got a guy that can get open. And that's handed off down to the 16-yard line, and the clock hits 0. And that'll do it for scrimmage number 2, and that'll also do it for us here at Zaleski Sports. So from Cale Jacoby and Vinny Villarreal, this has been your Appleton East scrimmage here with St. Mary Springs, Wisconsin Rapids, Green Bay, Notre Dame, and Appleton East. And that'll conclude our broadcast here today. So we will bid you a good afternoon, and we will see you next time here on Zaleski Sports as we have plenty of high school football being broadcast this season starting next week. So stay tuned for that, and we will see you next week here on Zaleski Sports.